And in sports, a Meg senior steps up for the team. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening, I'm Madison Moore. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio. With no great options, Governor Mike DeWine says a controlled release of toxic chemicals and other hazardous materials is underway in East Palestine. Friday's 50-car train derailment is creating increasingly dangerous conditions and threatening the lives of local residents. The threat escalated as the blaze burned for a third night on Sunday. Officials warning a possible explosion could send shrapnel over a mile away. To reduce that risk, DeWine has planned a controlled release of carcinogens like vinyl chloride this afternoon. The danger is so serious, officials are warning residents there's serious risk of injury or even death if they refuse to evacuate. According to Scott Doyen with Norfolk Southern Railways, the release will take 1 to 3 hours and an experienced crew is handling the release. The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating the derailment. The cause isn't yet known, but there was a mechanical failure warning before the wreck. Officials say most, if not everyone, has evacuated, and it is unknown when residents can return. The fatal fire took place this weekend in Coshkin County. The incident occurred around 11 p.m. Friday on the 400th block of Loctus Street. Emergency crews say when they arrived, they were met with heavy smoke and flames coming from the rear of the two-story building. WHIZ reports first responders found a 70-year-old man deceased upon entry. The incident remains under investigation. A man who brought a gun into a store in Scioto County Saturday is facing multiple charges. Scioto County Sheriff David Thurman received a call Saturday night to respond to a male subject entering the Shawnee grocery store with a gun. The man, now identified as Devonta Edward Mitchell, was pointing the gun at the clerk, demanding money from the cash register. The 30-year-old suspect was driving a stolen vehicle from an auto zone in Portsmouth. He was detained by an Adams County deputy on Germany Hill Road and US 52. Mitchell has been charged with aggravated robbery, kidnapping, grand theft of a motor vehicle, and theft. He is being held in Scioto County Jail, and he appeared in Portsmouth Municipal Court today. His preliminary hearing is set for Thursday. The police chief in Huntington, West Virginia is resigning after a little more than a year on the job. Mayor Steve Williams says Carl Coulter resigned for undisclosed family reasons. Deputy Police Chief Phil Watkins has been promoted to police chief, and his appointment will go before the City Council February 13th. Watkins would be the city's third police chief in less than 3 years. Coulter was Huntington's first black police chief in November 2021. Searches for Gretchen Fleming are ongoing in West Virginia as the investigation into her disappearance continues. The Marietta Times reports between 450 and 500 people turned out Saturday in Mountwood Park. The Parkersburg Police Chief Matthew Board said, quote, "Nothing definitive was located," end quote. The 28-year-old Vienna resident was reported missing on December 12th after last being seen on December 4th. Police have identified a person of interest for being last seen with Fleming, but they have not been charged and their name has not yet been released. In another missing person case in West Virginia, the Mason County Sheriff says crews are searching for a man who fell into a pond at the ICL plant in Mason County. Sheriff Corey Miller says the man went into the water Friday evening. The investigator at the scene confirmed search efforts have been unsuccessful so far. An unpredictable situation ends with a man shot by officers. This out of Huntington early yesterday morning after Luis Gonzalez allegedly threatened Cabell County EMS with a handgun. The Huntington Police Department said Gonzalez was sent to the hospital with a non-life-threatening injury. The 47-year-old is to be charged with felony counts of wanton endangerment. Cabell County EMS Director Gordon Marys says situations like this make it difficult to recruit new public safety workers. No officers were injured in the incident.
Good evening, I'm your weather forecast tonight, Marissa Zarati. Now, looking at today's temperature, we did reach a high about 44 degrees outside. It was very pleasant feeling outside today as well. Since the sun was outside for the most of the time today, the temperatures are going to drop to about 32 degrees later tonight, so it is going to be quite chillier than it was earlier. Right now, it's about 36 degrees. It is much chillier than it was earlier, but it is very clear outside right now, so you do have the chance of seeing that moon out. Winds that we were feeling from the other day has since lulled out quite a bit as well. So again, very beautiful day outside today. Looking at temperatures around about 36 right now in Athens, a bit colder as you go up north to about 33 in Lancaster and 34 in Columbus. No rain right now. However, that is not going to stay like that for this upcoming week starting tomorrow, and I will talk more about that on my full weather forecast. Now back to you, Madison, at the desk.
Coming up, rescue workers are digging through the rubble after a powerful earthquake in Turkey and Syria. And a new restaurant is arriving on Core Street in Athens. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
Why Chillicothe? Why this area? For some reason, this became a mecca for what was probably a religion, what we call Hopewell culture. We'll never know the reason that this was so important to certain people and why that developed, but it's certainly a beautiful place for it to have happened.
When I was a kid, Hohoka was the place to be.
Time changed, man.
It was like a dark cloud. Everything went to welting away and stuff. But now you can see a little light.
There's only one way tonight. That's a double way tonight. I'm bring the football, bro.
Since they've been winning, the pride is coming back.
We moving into a different place in this town. 2, 3,
Out of the Muck, Monday, February 6th at 10/9 Central on Independent Lens.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, which of these treasures do you think is the coolest?
I love that you said that because nobody says cool when they talk about pottery.
Oh, I know.
This is one of the sexier male costumes because there's something very sexy about
A guy in this kind of a jumpsuit.
They were just lying for a really long time in my grandma's attic.
Find out more next time on Antiques Roadshow from Santa Fe's Museum Hill.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
In West Africa, astronomers are on a mission.
This is very important.
If you don't get the data at the right second, you don't get the data ever.
Discover a history of African astronomy.
Wow, it's incredible.
And one scientist's dream for the future.
I believe space is for everyone.
Star Chasers of Senegal on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
Welcome back. More than 3,600 people are dead in Turkey and Syria following a powerful earthquake before dawn today. Isabel Rosales reports on the precarious search for survivors and the one factor making it more dangerous. A warning, some of the images are graphic and may be hard to watch.
From under the dust and rubble, a small hand reaches out. Volunteer white helmet rescuers pulling out a Syrian boy from the debris, alive. Their frantic search for life is not enough.
We need help, we need support, immediate support from anyone who can support us.
The catastrophic 7.8 magnitude earthquake collapsing buildings as people slept in bed. The U.S. Geological Survey predicts the death toll could rise by the thousands based on the location of the quake in Turkey and Syria. It's one of the strongest to hit the region since 1939.
We're not ready to deal with something like this. It's bigger than us and bigger than any NGO operating in northwest Syria to handle this disaster.
Survivors unable to go home, taking shelter wherever they can find, even in cars.
If you want to say hello to my kids.
But strong aftershocks complicating the search for those trapped, the biggest of them measuring a powerful 7.5 magnitude. International help is on the way. Several countries are donating money, equipment, and manpower as rescuers dig for any signs of life. I'm Isabel Rosales reporting.
Turkey's president has declared 7 days of national mourning, with President Biden sending condolences in a tweet early this morning, writing he's directed teams to offer any needed assistance to the region. First pieces of the debris from a suspected Chinese spy balloon shot down over the Atlantic Ocean after floating over the U.S. According to a law enforcement source, that debris has made its way to the FBI's Lab Quantico for analysis. And just this morning, China acknowledged a second balloon flying over Latin America was also theirs. This one they claimed was being used for flight tests. Ivan Rodriguez has the latest.
U.S. Navy divers, along with unmanned vessels, are working to recover debris from the suspected Chinese spy balloon shot down over the Atlantic Ocean on Saturday after it made its way across the continental U.S. Some critics say it took too long for the Biden administration to shoot down the balloon that was seen floating across the U.S. for days.
Were we confident there was not a nuclear weapon in that payload? Were we confident it wasn't carrying biological weapons, pathogens, or toxins?
But others, including defense officials and the White House, say it was necessary to wait until it was over open water, since the amount of damage it could cause on the ground was unknown.
There's just immense intelligence value in having this thing brought down over water where we can salvage it in a more, hopefully, complete fashion.
Meanwhile, China is urging calm and called destroying the balloon an overreaction, maintaining it was a civilian research vessel. At the same time, they acknowledged on Monday that a similar balloon floating over Latin America is theirs as well, claiming it was conducting flight tests but deviated from its course by mistake. While this latest act of suspected spying will have diplomatic ramifications between Washington and Beijing, the Pentagon says it isn't the first time.
During the Trump administration, at least 3 times, these observation balloons transited the U.S. territory.
In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
Issues are mounting for Congressman George Santos as he is accused of sexually harassing a prospective staffer. Derek Meyer has filed a police report and a complaint with the House Ethics Committee against the House Republican from New York. In the complaint, Myers said Santos touched his groin during a private encounter on January 25th and invited him back to his home. Myers says he declined the invitation and his job offer was rescinded a few days later. Santos says he 100% denies Myers' allegations. The congressman claims he withdrew Myers' job offer over an ongoing wiretapping case from when Myers was a news reporter in Ohio. Democrats and some Republicans have been calling on Santos to resign after he was previously accused of making false and fabricated stories. Federal prosecutors are also investigating him over his federal campaign filings. A local chef is nominated for a top culinary award. That story's still ahead.
After a few beautiful days, that's all about to change. Stick around for my full weather forecast to hear more about it. But in the meantime, feel free to check us out on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter.
You have spies working for you? How did you find this?
There's so much hope, joy, and life in that music.
I put it on. Wow.
Ooh, I like that.
When I first heard that song, I thought, here's somebody speaking what I feel.
I love this.
Okay, mind blown.
All this and more, now streaming on the PBS app.
Resistance was a necessity.
On making Black America.
Slaves were freed, but African Americans had not become truly equal citizens.
Organizing for change. And Black life, Black joy.
Creating these spaces or enclaves that allow us to feel good about ourselves and good in the world, even if the world isn't good.
Friday at 9 on WOUB.
In West Africa, astronomers are on a mission.
This is very important.
If you don't get the data at the right second, you don't get the data ever.
Discover a history of African astronomy.
Wow, it's incredible.
And one scientist's dream for the future.
I believe space is for everyone.
Star Chasers of Senegal on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
The war was declared in April 1917, and there was a need for encampments. Camp Sherman, close to 10,000 acres. It pulls a large number of men in. There's close to 2,000 buildings. There's this connection between the city of Chillicothe and what was happening at Camp Sherman. It's such an important piece of our history, and boy, when you're in Chillicothe, you really feel that.
Welcome back to Newswatch. Current temperatures outside about 36 degrees, a little chilly than what we felt earlier today. However, the wind that we felt last night that made it super cold, we are not feeling tonight. So it is a little bit more tolerable out tonight, that is for sure. It is going to reach an overnight low about 32 degrees, so a bit colder even, and some clouds are going to start rolling in as well. As you can see on the local radar right now, there's not a speck of rain in sight. We've had some very nice weather outside for the past few days, and what's been happening is that there have been some low pressure systems have been staying up northeast, and instead we are being dominated by high pressure systems right now, which has been causing us to have some very beautiful days these past few days. However, starting tomorrow, that is going to change a little bit here. There is going to be some rain, but look at these temperatures, 57 degrees as a high tomorrow. Insanely warm for this time of year, especially early February. As the rain kind of comes through though in the latter half of the day, temperatures are going to start dropping to about 34 degrees. Tomorrow, what we will see is that there is going to be a warm front here that's going to kind of come through, and that's going to bring us the high temperatures, and then followed behind that is a cold front, and that is what's going to bring the rain and the cause of drop in temperatures for that evening. Looking for the next few days here, again, wet start of the week here. Very spring-like temperatures here, 57 degrees as a high. Wednesday a little bit chillier with a high about 53, and then Thursday very, very warm, 64 degrees. However, it is going to be super rainy with 70% chance of rain happening. Very spring-like temperatures for the first half of the week here. And then as Friday kind of starts, temperatures are going to start dropping, and then Saturday will kind of be that slap in the face. To remind you, it is February with the high of only about 37 degrees, and that's going to drop dramatically to an overnight low of 21 degrees. It's going to start warming up again for the rest of the weekend there with a high about 45 degrees on Sunday with some sun peeking out as well. But those temperatures are going to drop to about 31 degrees and again continue to warm up. On Monday, clouds are going to come back in with a high of 52 and a low of 33. That is all I have from my full weather. Now back to you, Madison, at the desk.
Thank you, Maria. A local chef is a semi-finalist in this year's James Beard Awards. Newswatch reporter Emma Delamater has more on the nomination and the cook herself.
When you bite into a burger, pizza, or other menu item at Little Fish Brewing Company, you may be biting into one of Becky Clark's masterpieces. Becky Clark, the executive chef at Little Fish in both Athens and Dayton, is a semi-finalist in the Best Chef Great Lakes category in this year's James Beard Awards. And the news came as just as much of a surprise to her as it did to everyone else.
I actually didn't even know that they were coming out that day. I didn't know that I was in the running. I was like absolutely shell-shocked.
The James Beard Awards recognize exceptional talent and achievement in the culinary arts, hospitality, media, and broader food system.
Not only does the James Beard nomination recognize the quality of food here at Little Fish, but it also allows their team to highlight local agriculture through its ingredients to a broader audience.
The awards also demonstrate commitment to racial and gender equity, community, sustainability, and a culture where all can thrive. Little Fish's team believes this to be larger than the product itself.
I've worked with the owners at Little Fish a lot on things like breaking down the tipping pool and pay structure in a way that equalizes the front and back of house, which is not standard in restaurants.
Clark, above all, stresses that she couldn't do any of this without her team.
I am one chef between two restaurants. I have two incredible executive sous chefs, but a bunch of really great cooks, a bunch of really great front of house people. And it's just like that, it feels like a nomination for the whole team, and like in no way is it a one-person job.
For Newswatch, I'm Emma Delamater.
The James Beard finalists will be announced on March 29th, and the award ceremony will be held on June 5th in Chicago. A new restaurant is coming to Athens. Newswatch reporter Dylan Tyson joins us with a look at the newest restaurant in town.
Yeah, Madison, and you know, just 3 years ago, you'd walk past the windows of 40 South Court Street, and in the late hours of the night, you'd find the building packed with Ohio University students seeking affordable eats or a place to hang out. The former Wendy's location has sat dormant since closing their doors in 2020. But for the first time since the pandemic began, a new tenant is moving in. As students and locals alike make the trek down Court Street, they may soon be walking by Athens' next fast food hotspot, Oriza Asian Grill. It would be the 4th franchise for the West Virginia-based restaurant and also be the 4th Asian restaurant in Uptown Athens, the rest of which are locally owned. While pending a review from the city's Historic Preservation Commission, Oriza will make fast casual Asian the most saturated dining option in Uptown Athens, surpassing the 3 sit-down Mexican restaurants. So that's why we asked Ohio University students what restaurants and cuisines they'd like to see up on Court Street. Let's go.
First thoughts, we already have 2 Asian places on Court Street.
I like that a lot. I'm a huge fan of Asian food in general.
It's good. I wish it was something else though.
I feel like we have a lot of that kind of restaurant.
I miss the burgers on Court Street for sure. So bring back some burgers, maybe a McDonald's, something like that. Just feed us at those late nights.
Dude, I'd put a Skyline Chili right there. Skyline Chili all the way. If they put a Taco Bell there, they'd make so much money late night. They put a Waffle House there.
I wish it was a Cane's or a Chick-fil-A, man. We need that here. Everyone's asking for it, we need it.
Well, I would like to actually see a Wendy's.
Thai food, oh my gosh. Well, fusion's down there, but some good high quality Thai food would be so good because it's pad Thai is so good.
I mean, I love the Asian cuisine that they already have on Court Street, so I'm excited for a new one as well.
Now, before it's official, the Historic Preservation Commission will need to approve Oriza's architecture plan when they meet on February 13th. But Madison, I gotta ask, what's your dream restaurant on Court Street?
You know what, Dylan? I would love to see a Chick-fil-A.
That's fair. I mean, I gotta stand pretty firm that Cane's is the better option, but that's just my 2 cents.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Dylan.
Coming up in sports, a Megs basketball player sacrifices playing her senior night game for the good of the team. But first, here's a look what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
One family, 37 different faces. The Canids. Wolves, foxes, jackals, and dogs. They are supreme survivors and the most successful carnivores on the planet. This is the ultimate look at dogs in the wild.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
Here's what's new this month with Passport.
Kirsten had a lot of courage. She fought for Black culture.
They could have killed you. You're exactly what we need right now.
My God.
What is this?
She was poisoned.
These and all your favorite shows are available with Passport. Support your PBS station and stream more with Passport on the PBS app.
Lucy Ware Webb was born here. As a young lady, as the wife of the governor, as the wife of the president of the United States, she's always the same person. Just a terrific lady. As residents of Chillicothe, we're very, very proud of her. To have a person of that character to represent this community, small as it is, in the White House.
On Secrets of the Dead, human remains are found in Queens, New York.
We're dealing with an African-American woman. She died over 150 years ago.
Neglected history is revealed.
It's really important that we create this rich and diverse tapestry of 19th century African-American life.
And a local community comes together.
Her life is a testament to our life.
The Woman in the Iron Coffin on Secrets of the Dead.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
Welcome back, I'm Peyton Brooker. Even though the Megs basketball team suffered a rough defeat to Nelsonville, York, the Marauders have to have a season a lot further ahead. Not many say Megs form a little, and one of the main reasons is unique leadership from the team captain. Newswatch reporter Aiden Crowley reports more on this story.
Miss Charlotte Heisel.
Senior night. Every high school athlete's moment to celebrate countless hours in the gym and reflect on their legacy. But for Meg's senior Charlotte Heisel, her night was a little different. Just minutes before the ceremony, you could find her playing on the junior varsity team to make sure they had enough players to compete.
I just love them, and I mean, they would do anything for me. They push me, and so anything I can do to help them.
Heisel already has an associate's degree and is committed to running track in college, but head coach Heath Hudson says she is always committed to the team first.
And she's always there to pick the girls up, always there to encourage everyone else, unselfish player, and we love her to death.
This commitment comes from a bond that goes beyond just the play on the court.
Came in junior high and played because we didn't have enough girls, and she couldn't walk in a straight line and chew gum, and she'll tell you that.
Whenever I started basketball, I had no idea what I was doing. I knew nothing about it. I started way later than everyone else did, but these girls have helped me. They've taught me so much. They've helped me whenever I had no idea what I was doing, and they don't put you down. They build you up and strengthen you and teach you what you want to learn.
Now this team turned family is looking to leave a legacy of success, racking up wins in search of a playoff run. But for Heisel and Hudson, it's about playing for one another. For Newswatch, I'm Aiden Crowley in Pomeroy.
The Marauders are back in action tonight against the Marietta Tigers. Tip is set for 7:15. The Ohio basketball team turns back to the court tomorrow as they take on Northern Illinois. The Bobcats travel away to the NIU Convocation Center after a 78-68 victory against Miami at the Battle of the Bricks. In that game, both Jalen Hunter and Dwight Wilson dominated the scoring charts as they combined for 44 points. The Huskies look to continue their winning ways as NIU is 4 of their last 5 against MAC opponents. The game is scheduled to tip off tomorrow at 8 Eastern. And on the ice this weekend, the Bobcats return to the scoring games as they take on Robert Morris. The Bobcats were successful in its outing, blazing through the Beavers 5-3, but it was a bit different Saturday, as they were going into the third quarter. The Panthers exploded offensively that period. Miami State scored 4 goals and secured an 8-5 victory. The Bobcats returned home to Robert Morris, and it was an exciting time for Sibs weekend because it was a big game.
Absolutely. On Friday night, it was a packed stadium. And now we're going to toss over to Marissa for final weather.
Temperatures are going to reach an overnight low of about 32 degrees. It's going to be pretty chilly tonight, but looking at tomorrow's temperature, going to warm up quite a bit to about 57 degrees. Very, very warm for this time of year. As rain kind of comes in, though, the temperature will drop to about 34 degrees. Looking at the week ahead, very spring-like temperatures for the first half of the week here. Very high temperatures, and then Saturday it cools right back down to about 37 degrees, and then it'll warm back up just a little bit more, with sun starting to peak out again on Sunday, and then on Monday the clouds will come back, and that is all I have for my final weather.
And our final story tonight, how often should you wash your clothes to keep your skin healthy? Dermatologist Susan Masick with the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center says some garments absolutely should be washed after being worn only once, including underwear, socks, and other clothing worn close to the body. However, Masick adds other clothes like denim or outerwear can be worn more than once before you throw them in the wash. Masick also says to make sure your clothes are dried properly, as mold and mildew can grow if the garments aren't completely dried. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Madison Moore. And stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at woub.org. Have a great night.
It's your palate, it's your taste.
Discovering stories,
voices of the people.
Such a shared experience.
The choice is yours with Passport on the PBS Video app.
Support comes from Snyder Strode Jarrett Financial in Athens, providing investment and